In one corner of the room, Maya had started what she called the Wall of Winds. She pinned every drawing Lucas made, every signed word he learned, every photo where his eyes showed light. Brandon had at first rolled his eyes at the name, but over time, he began stopping at that wall, staring quietly, his fingertips grazing the edges of a crayon rainbow or stick figure family under a tree. One morning, Maya introduced 3 new cards: happy, sad, and scared. She signed each word slowly, holding the card up, letting Lucas feel the meaning through tone and gesture. She didn't expect a response, but Lucas reached for the happy card. He pressed it to his chest and looked at her. She smiled. "You are," she signed. He nodded.
Once.
Maya's throat tightened. She didn't cry, but she wrote that moment down on a sticky note and pinned it on the wall. Lucas signed happy. First time. That night, something shifted. They were sitting on the edge of his bed. The lights were dim, and Maya signed a lullaby her grandmother had taught her, an old spiritual with gentle gestures that danced through the air like warm wind. Lucas watched, his eyes following every movement, not blinking. Brandon lingered in the doorway. He never interrupted these nights anymore. When Maya finished the last verse, Lucas hummed. Soft, unsure, but a note nonetheless. She looked at him, eyes wide. He hummed again, matching the last tone of her song. Her hand found his. "That's music," she signed, guiding his hand in rhythm. He hummed one more time. Then, barely audible, like wind slipping through the leaves, came a whisper. "Dada." Maya froze. Brandon, still at the door, nearly dropped the cup of tea in his hands. Lucas looked up, not fearful. His eyes searched the doorway, and then he raised both arms. Brandon stepped forward slowly, disbelieving. "You said..." "Lucas, you said," his voice cracked. Lucas repeated it just once. "Dada." Brandon dropped to his knees beside the bed. He didn't touch his son, not yet. But he rested his hand on the mattress, tears running down his face. Lucas crawled forward, small fingers brushing his father's palm, then curling into it. Maya stepped back into the hallway. She stood there for a while, hands clasped, heart pounding. In that moment, she knew. The boy who once curled into himself like a shell had spoken his world into existence. One word, one father, and 1,000 bridges born from silence. The morning started with sunlight and ended in suspicion. Maya was teaching Lucas to sign the names of fruits, apple, banana, grape, when a sharp knock rattled the front door. She heard it from the playroom. The sound was heavy, businesslike. Minutes later, a voice echoed through the halls. "Child Protective Services. We're here regarding a report." Maya's stomach sank. She followed the voices to the main foyer, where 2 CPS agents stood with serious expressions and a clipboard thick with papers. Brandon stood opposite them, rigid, arms folded. The staff hovered nearby, whispering. "We received an anonymous tip," one agent said, "that the child, Lucas Caldwell, is under emotional distress, that the new caregiver may be unqualified or coercive." Maya froze. Her pulse pounded in her ears. "I demand to see the report," Brandon said, voice clipped. "This is baseless." The agents didn't flinch. "Sir, we'll still need to perform a basic wellness check and speak with the caregiver. Privately." Maya looked at Brandon. He nodded once. The interview was long, invasive. They asked about her education, her income, her family. They brought up her brother's arrest record from years ago, her student loans, her job history. "How long have you been employed here?" 3 months. "Do you have formal training in child therapy?"
No.
"I only have lived experience with my brother Marcus." "And are you in a personal relationship with Mr. Caldwell?" The question made her recoil. Absolutely not. Lucas sat nearby, watching it all. His shoulders tightened. His hands fidgeted. At one point, an agent leaned toward him. "Lucas, can you tell us, are you safe with Maya?" Lucas stared, lips shut tight. They turned to Maya. We've heard he rarely speaks. He signs, she said. He's communicating. I can show you. Let's just finish the evaluation. The agents left after hours of observation, but the damage had already crept in. The warmth that had been growing in the house now felt fragile, like a window left open in winter. Maya sat on the edge of her bed that night, shaken. Not because she had anything to hide, but because the world didn't need truth to destroy people. It only needed suspicion. Brandon called a meeting with his security team. Within 48 hours, they traced the source of the report. Sylvia Warner, his former executive assistant. The same woman now engaged to Ethan Graves, Brandon's longtime rival at Helix Tech. She hadn't just reported Maya. She'd leaked photos to tabloids. Old college pictures. Public records. A single arrest of her brother Marcus during a mental health crisis, twisted and repackaged into scandal. Headlines spread fast. Billionaire's housekeeper turned healer, or manipulator? Inside the quiet influence of Maya Walker. Tragedy or strategy? Brandon Caldwell's sudden soft side raises eyebrows. Paparazzi camped outside the estate gates. Reporters yelled questions. Even Maya's old high school classmates messaged her on Facebook, suddenly curious or cruel. She thought of leaving. She packed a bag. But when she turned around, Lucas was there, silent, barefoot, holding one of his crayon drawings. It was the picture of the three of them beneath the crooked tree.
He didn't speak.
He simply walked up to her and signed two small words, "Don't leave." Her hands trembled. Then, for the first time, Lucas strung together an entire sentence in signs. "You make me feel real." Maya fell to her knees, hugging him, tears running freely. She stayed, not because it was easy, but because someone finally asked her to. The courtroom buzzed with whispers long before the hearing began. The media had spun the story every which way. A billionaire's recluse son, a mysterious housekeeper, a whisper heard through a closed door. Everyone had an opinion. None of them knew the truth. Maya stood near the defense table, her palms damp despite the chill in the air. Across the room sat representatives from Child Protective Services, lawyers in sharp suits, and a few curious journalists scribbling in notepads. She glanced toward the gallery. Brandon was there, hands clenched, face unreadable. Next to him, Lucas sat with a sketchpad on his lap, quietly coloring. His small shoulders were wrapped in a gray hoodie. A stuffed rabbit peeked from his backpack. The judge entered, and silence dropped like a curtain. After opening statements, Maya was called to the stand. To be continued in Part 3.